Hello, my name is Mark Shepard, and welcome to Peak Performance Living, personal mastery for real people in the real world. And today we have an exciting group of people who I know personally and who are involved in something called the Albany Peace Project. And first we're going to have Bethany Gagne, who is the founder of the Albany Peace Project. Then we're going to have Dr. John Fulde of SUNY, who is going to be running the numbers and finding out how people's thoughts can actually lower crime in the city of Albany. And then we have Roger Mock, who is a music director of the Unity Church in Albany and a longtime meditator and somebody who is really a very key piece of the Albany Peace Project because he brings the musical thing all together. So join us in just a moment and we will get this interview going. And here we are, Peak Performance Living, and with my guest, Bethany Gagne.
Thank you, Mark. How are you?
I'm doing well. So Bethany, you are the founder of the Albany Peace Project, albanypeaceproject.com, and I'm curious how this whole idea got going. Walk us through what happened in your life that brought this whole peace project to fruition.
Right. Yeah, it's been an outgrowth of many, many years. For the last 20 years, I've been teaching biofeedback, which is the art and science of teaching people how to use the mind to positively influence the body. So teaching people how to use their mind to lower their blood pressure, or how to use their mind to abort a migraine headache, or even to send blood flow to the hands and feet. And so biofeedback essentially is the art and science of intention, and the idea of taking the mind and focusing it in the body to get a result. So for me, intention has always been very palpable. It's a very real phenomenon that however I point my mind, there's an effect. And that is just endlessly fascinates me. And so over the years, I've been studying a great deal of intentional research and prayer research. And what this research is suggesting is that thoughts are things that influence things. Right. And so this idea that if a group of people come together to focus on a thought, and for the Albany Peace Project, we're focusing on the thought of peace, could we have an effect?
Right, okay. So, I mean, it sounds a lot like hypnosis. I'm a hypnotherapist, and we use the mind also to do similar things. What's the difference between, like, hypnosis, for example, or prayer, or biofeedback, or focused intention?
Well, it's a funny thing. Sometimes scientists will say there's no difference among any of them.
Right.
You know, absolutely. So you could say that intention is a prayer. They could kind of both be the same.
Right,
so.
Okay. And so how is it going to work? How is the Albany Peace Project going to work? How do you get people involved to, I mean, how many people are you looking for? What's the process?
The goal is that every day in January 2014, this January coming up, we're inviting people from the greater Albany area. Actually, you know, we're going to be online, so whoever is interested throughout the world, to send peaceful intentions to the city of Albany each day for January 2014. And I'm working with State University of Albany professor Dr. John Fulde, who's going to be here in a moment. And we're going to be looking at the crime statistics, the Albany Police Department crime statistics, specifically the number of assaults.
Okay.
And we're going to see if we can, through our collective intention of peace, lower the number of assaults in the city of Albany.
Wow, that sounds exciting. So people will go to a website, which is albanypeaceproject.com, and they'll log in, or they'll sign in, or whatever they're going to do there, and then they're going to see every day a new meditation and a different person leading a meditation. Is that the
Yep,
idea?
Absolutely. Every day you can log onto your computer and there'll be a different meditation leader leading people in through this intentional exercise. And it will help you come to a calm state yourself. It will help you kind of project peace into your own life. And then we're going to kind of extend that attention outward to the city of Albany. So each day in January, just click into your computer at albanypeaceproject.com and just follow the meditation.
All right, well, cool. So what happens after January? So you're going to do this for 31 days, and then what if crime goes down in February and March, but not in January? Is that okay? Is that part of the study, or how does that work?
Well, we are going to be looking at those months as well, January, February, March, maybe April, and we're going to be looking at those following months, and this is an experiment, so we are going to see what we get. Right. And we're basing our experiment on other research.
Okay.
And there's other research that suggests that there is an effect. This research will probably work as long as, one, we have enough people.
Right.
And if the people that are doing it are skilled, it will work even better.
Right.
Because there's other evidence that's very strongly suggests that that this will work. We just need the people.
Right, right. So how many people do you want? I mean, what's the fantasy of critical mass? What would work the best?
We would love probably 1,500 to 2,000 people
Wow,
meditating.
okay, great. And so what do you have to know in order to be a meditator, to be part of this?
Nothing. That's the wonderful thing.
I like that.
I know. If you've ever kind of toyed with meditation and you never really knew what to do, this is the time to try it, okay?
Right.
We're going to be walking you through the process. And so you really just need to follow instructions to find a quiet place to sit still for a moment. And the meditations will be available every day, all day. So
Right,
you can
okay.
do it at your own convenience.
Beautiful. I love that. So what else do people need to know? That it starts January 1st. There's going to be a kickoff concert at the Unity Church in Albany. And
At 1 o'clock.
at 1 o'clock, I'll be performing. Roger Mock will be performing. Dr.
Yep.
John will join us as well, and we'll get some other musicians there. And then we do the whole month, each day a meditation, and then we're going to end it with a big concert as well at Unity Church. And we're going to check in and see how it's not only affected, maybe the city of Albany, but we're going to check and see how it's affected each of us. Is that correct?
I can guarantee you that if you participate in the month of January and you've never done this type of work before, you will be pleasantly pleased. It
nice.
just
Okay.
works. This work works if you work it. And so if you do the work, it's wonderful.
Great.
So elegant.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Bethany Gagne. You'll be hearing
Thank
more
you.
from her, and we have another guest coming up in just a moment, so stay tuned. Welcome back to Peak Performance Living. My name is Mark Shepard, and with me right now is the Dr. John Foldy, PhD, SUNY Albany professor, and he is the guy that is going to take the research part of the Albany Peace Project meditation study and find out, did we affect the rate of crime? Did we lower crime? Did we increase the peace in the city of Albany during the month of January? So Dr. John Foldy, welcome.
Thank you.
Tell us a little bit about how you come into this kind of research and what your background is.
I met Bethany at a presentation. A mutual friend, Michael Wayne, was talking, and we started talking about our mutual interests. And we both were familiar with Lynn McTaggart. The research that Bethany was talking about earlier was kind of replicating that research.
Okay, with
And
Lynn
what-
McTaggart.
Yep, and what she did, she had a group of meditators focus on different geographical locations that had a high instance of violence. And now you have to understand, in science, you can't prove causality with statistics.
Right.
We can only show that as one variable changes, another variable changes. You
Right.
have to infer causality by ruling out all the other possibilities. So we're not going to claim that we caused,
right.
the
Right.
violence to drop. We're just going to observe the effects of the variable. where
Right,
People
okay.
meditated and visualized intention. And the idea is it's generated from the Galileo holographic model of consciousness, which says that the energy of your thoughts and the energy of your four-dimensional hologram, your events,
Right.
are both frequency interference patterns. And just like starting pendulums, they get locked in phase,
Right.
or women living in the same room, same house, their menstrual cycles will.
Right.
It's called rhythm entrainment.
Right.
So we're saying your thoughts and events form a phase lock system. So therefore, altering A, your thoughts, should alter B, the probability of events.
Okay.
We looked at visualization or intention at two levels. And when I was teaching in California, we looked at macro level events, and my colleague Bill Tiller looked at micro level events.
Okay.
We had groups of subjects that would keep track of some type of random countable event. Like, so if someone mails you a piece of junk mail, and you can count that. Someone calls you up on your phone and it's the wrong number, you can count that.
Right.
If you find a coin on the ground, you can count that.
Right.
So they had a control group just keep track of those events for a month. We had a group visualize or intend to get more junk mail or more wrong numbers or find more
Right.
coins.
Find more coins. Yeah.
Okay. And the people that visualized got so many more events than the group that just kept track that the odds of it happening by chance range between 0.02 and 0.06.
Wow.
And you want to have 0.05. You want to be 95% sure that A affects B before you publish something.
Okay.
Tiller looked at micro level events. He had groups of people try to raise the pH level of a sample of water or lower it. And they were able to do it by a full unit.
Wow. Okay.
So now the mechanism about just how this thought and event, how that's connected. We're still in the lab trying to figure it out.
Right, okay.
And all we've demonstrated so far is that A, thought, has effect on probabilities of events. We don't know the functional relationship. We don't know how much of A affects how much of B.
Okay, great.
So we're going to look at the stats,
Nice.
before and after, and see if there's a large enough chance that we can rule. Large enough difference that we couldn't rule it out by chance alone.
Great. So I think that's amazing, and I'm not a scientist by any respect, but I also know that the very fact that you're even involved in this study is the result of Bethany kind of holding in her mind that she needed someone who had your skills to support the project. How did that all happen?
Yeah, well, we have this really cool one-trick pony show together. She does her spiel, I do my spiel, and then we create a song together among the audience.
Right.
And it allows them to get a chance to say, hey, by focusing your attention, you can make things happen. And so,
Right.
And Bethany wanted to mention that not only are you doing good for yourself and for the community, you also get free stuff.
Absolutely.
yeah.
You do get free stuff.
Tell us what the free stuff is,
If
Bethany.
you go to albanypeaceproject.com, you have 4 free downloads for you. First of all, is an intentional meditation that will, if you're unfamiliar with this, you'd like to probably download that. And what it does is teach you how to focus your mind in a way that research suggests has been very effective. And so it's a 12-minute meditation you could download. Also, Mark Shepard is our resident musician on this whole project. And Mark has written a theme song, which you're going to hear at the end of this, and you can download your own copy of it called Be the Change. So that's there is for you as well. Next of all, I wrote a PDF, and that is about not all meditations are equal, because sometimes people try to meditate and they feel all agitated and fidgety. Just read that, and you can choose an approach that's best for you. But finally, and the best, is Dr. John Foldy's book is there. You can download it. It's titled The Primacy Model of Consciousness. And Dr. Foldy, you want to quickly tell him what it's about?
Yeah, the phase lock hypothesis, the idea that your thoughts and events are phase locked, is just part of a larger model of consciousness called the primacy model of consciousness. And what this says is if your thoughts and events are phase locked, which is another way of saying that you reap what you sow, what goes around comes around, what you assume becomes manifest. If that's the case, what does it imply for the evolution of consciousness? Right now, scientists assume, not people, but scientists assume that your consciousness is locked inside your brain. So everything Mark is, when that brain stops working, you're out of here. And the answer to the lifelong questions, why am I here and where am I going? From that assumption, you're here by accident and going nowhere.
Right.
Well, what if that's not the case? What if there is evolution of consciousness?
Wow,
I don't understand why the universe would set up a deal that you reap what you sow, but it's still life's a bitch and you die.
Right,
you know?
right.
So that's kind of the model
Great.
is trying to address those theoretical issues. That the phase lock hypothesis, which this experiment is trying to test, one aspect of it. So we're looking at it at micro level and macro level events, and now we're looking at intention by groups on effects on communities.
Cool. And I want to say, I have read The Primacy Model of Consciousness. Is that the right name? Did I get it right? And it makes a lot of sense, and it's not confusing. So if you're a little intimidated by the big words on the science, just check it out. It's free, and you can read it and share it, and it can really help your understanding of how you even are in the world. So great. Well, Dr. John, thank you so much. And Bethany, thank you so much. We have another guest coming right up is Roger Mock. Hey, this is Mark Shepard, and we are back to Peak Performance Living, and we have special guest Roger Mock, who is one of my musical heroes and also a long-term meditator. And we got Roger involved. We didn't really ask him.
No, you didn't.
We kind of just said, Roger, we're doing a big performance. We're doing a big kickoff concert at Unity Church, where Roger is the music director in Albany, and he was actually very enthusiastic. And so I wanted to just get a chance to talk to you a little bit about, you've been a long-time meditator. How did that come about?
Well, thinking about it, it goes back to college, which we're talking late 70s, mid 70s, late 70s.
And you went to the College of St. Rose?
St. Rose, right here in Albany, and I took a yoga course. Because I wasn't great in sports. I didn't want to do any of those other things.
Right.
Not that they really had that much of it.
Right.
I took rowing, and I took yoga. And yoga was great. I loved it. And I distinctly remember the end of our yoga class the first time, us all laying down on our mats on our backs, going into what's called savasana,
Right.
and the person leading us in a guided meditation for probably 10, 12 minutes or something.
Right.
It was the first experience I'd ever had with something like that. I was like a little wary, like, what's this?
Right.
But, you know, she did this guided thing. I was kind of floating. She had us floating in the air or something. And I thought, yeah, that's kind of cool. And, of course, the class went on for a semester, so I got a little more experience with that. And I've been a person of faith all my life, and I tied it in pretty quickly with my own faith life and prayer life. And the next thing that I remember, sort of from the same time period, is doing personal prayer, but coming to a point where I was like sort of tired at yakking at God.
Right. Right. Right.
I'm like, what's really the point here? I mean, and sort of taking some of what I learned in the meditation experience. And also, actually, this other thing comes up. I had a very good friend who tried something with me. He said, let's try this. Just try looking in my eyes for as long as we can look in each other's eyes. And say nothing. Just hold my gaze and see what happens.
Okay.
I don't know if I've ever done that with anybody since.
Wow.
But it had a profound effect on me, because when you do that without flinching, there's communication happening
Right.
that's wordless.
Right. Right.
And there's a centering kind of thing that happens.
Right.
So I made the connection with my prayer and my meditation, thinking, I'm going to do this with God.
Okay.
That was
Nice.
kind of my thought.
wow.
Stare him down.
I'm going to stare him down.
Stare him down
I
the
did.
Lord.
And I worked that into my regular prayer life. I would just sort of be quiet, and it was like kind of an open, receptive
Right.
way to pray.
Wow.
Which basically is what meditation. I don't really see a difference between prayer and meditation.
Right.
Right, right.
It's hitting a single note on a piano over and over.
Yeah.
It doesn't say whether a prayer or a mantra
Yes.
or an image.
Intention.
It's just the same note.
Right.
Bing, bing, bing.
So-
It sets the whole system in resonance.
It was that same feeling of just being open to a person, but just directing it toward the deity,
Right.
and allowing myself to be receptive and open. So that was a profound experience for me, and,
Right.
it did kind of change the way, change my faith life in a sense.
Nice. And so you started out kind of in the Catholic faith,
Yeah.
and now at Unity Church, which is kind of more of a multi-faith kind
Mm-hmm.
of a movement, and you do a Sunday evening multi-faith music service that incorporates music and faith traditions from all over the world.
Right.
How did that happen? Was the meditation a part of that, or how did that journey take place for you?
For me, from the Catholic Church?
Yeah.
Well, certainly that whole meditation thing was part of my person through all those years. And I actually sought out Catholic versions of that. There's a very
Right.
strong contemplative aspect of Catholicism, which I
Right.
revere.
Right.
And those, I read little Thomas Merton, and Thomas Merton was a guy who in the 50s and 60s was connecting with Eastern thought and meeting with
Right.
lamas and, swamis or whatever, and recognizing the connection there, that
Right.
they were experiencing the same thing. They didn't
Right.
need to have the verbiage that identified it
Right.
as something else.
Right,
So,
so,
so I felt that connection way back. And so the idea of interfaith, multi-faith experience has been part of my experience personally for a long time.
Right.
So it was an easy transition
Right.
for me. So musically, I would say how that affects me in terms of being a musician is that I find that centered space in myself, and the music becomes less performance but more of a channel.
Right.
Ideally, I mean,
Right.
that's where I'd like to be. I'd like the music to be coming from that inner space,
Right,
and in
right.
my best moments, I think it does.
Right. And as a folk musician, you cannot help but be also influenced by Pete Seeger, as I am,
Totally.
and how a song can literally change the world.
That's
which is
absolutely true.
So we're getting ready to share a song with you, and
Yeah.
Dr. John is a musician. Roger's a musician, and Bethany Gagne is actually a musician as well. And I first met Bethany because I was doing music with Roger, and she came to do a guest soloist and spot, and it was just so. That's why I really wanted you here today,
Oh,
because
great.
you are a part of this process,
Right,
and
right,
I wouldn't
whether
be
you know it or
involved.
not.
I wouldn't be involved in the Peace Project if it
Yeah.
weren't for my connection with you, right? So for me, that's how this resonance that Dr. John is talking about really begins. We hold a thought.
Yeah.
And the fact that we're even on TV at this moment,
Right.
I've been holding a thought of how cool would it be to do a TV show that really talks about this kind of thing.
What you
peak
assume becomes
performance living.
manifest.
Right. And it's really that process, and it can happen very gently and very easily. And hello, we can change not only our own lives, but we can change the world. And to me, making a positive difference in the world is kind of why we're here. And to do it in our own way is I think the most creative process. It is art, it is spiritual, it is, good in every way. So I want to thank you. Go ahead.
And I just want to say one other thing. Roger, you talked about the first time that you fell into meditation and how you noticed it as a sweet space, right? Is that it? And it was remarkable that you remembered it, right?
Yes, that's true. I do remember it very well.
We all kind of remember the first time we meditated. And so this idea of this idea that if you're ever thinking about meditating yourself, this is a wonderful opportunity for you to try that. We've all been kind of playing with intention, playing with meditation, and we do it because it works. We do it because our lives are fun, because we're going for creativity. We're looking to become the best we can be. We're looking to go for peak performance living. And certainly by playing with this space within ourselves and bringing it to all of our work, it adds a dynamic, doesn't it? That's why we're all here, because we're crazy passionate about this topic.
Yeah.
I'd like to make one more point,
Yeah.
which is that I've been meditating all these years in some capacity, since 40 years, I don't know. I don't want to count.
Right.
But I will say this, I'm a terrible meditator. I'm an expert at mind wandering. However, I've been a persistent meditator, and that's made a big difference. Just this week, I had a moment where I think, I'm feeling a little out of it. What's going on? There's a little edge of depression happening, and I can stop.
Right.
I can be still. I can pretty quickly find a place of peace in myself, and make a change. Change that pattern, and that's the real gift to me
Right.
of
Right.
sticking with this practice all this time.
That's why you'll find meditators are very enthusiastic about their meditation practice, because it's this growing dynamic thing. We still sit down, like with beginner's mind. I still sit down and I still don't know what's going to happen. I'm just know in 15 minutes I'm going to feel better.
Right, yeah. And sometimes it's just a minute.
Right,
You know,
right.
it's just-
5 minutes.
just a moment to
if all you
take.
got is 5, do it. Yeah.
All right. So we'll be right back with Dr. John Foldy, Roger Mock, Bethany Gagne, and myself, Mark Shepard, singing you an original song that is the theme song for the Albany Peace Project. What if you could really vote with your heart? Imagine the world a better place because of you. What if we all paused for a moment of peace? What if for a moment all hostility could cease? Be the change you want to see in the world. Be the change you want to see. Be the change you want to see in the world. Be the change you want to see. Brothers, sisters, fathers and mothers, what if we all got together, took a moment to breathe with each other, to show that we can make things better. Be the change you want to see in the world. Be the change you want to see. Be the change you want to see in the world. Be the change you want to see. Broadcasting love is a conscious choice that allows your hurt to mend. So lay down your arms and open up your heart. There is nothing you have to defend. Be the change you want to see in the world. Be the change you want to see. Be the change you want to see in the world. Be the change you want to see. Raja. the change you want to see. Whoa, be the change you want to see in the world. Be the change you want to see. Quietly now, I will hold you in my heart and surround you with love. I will hold you in my heart. In the light, we're all made love. Be the change you want to see in the world. Be the change you want to see. Whoa! Be the change you want to see in the world. Be the change you want to see. Be the change you want to see in the world. Be the change you want to see. Be the change you want to see in the world. Be the change you want to see. Be the change you want to see. Last time. Be the change you want to see. Well, that's our first show, Peak Performance Living, and my name is Mark Shepard. This is Bethany Gagne. We have Roger Mock and Dr. John Foldy, and it's been our pleasure bringing you a little bit of the excitement of the Albany Peace Project. We hope to come back to you in the future with other exciting ideas and peak performance living stuff that you can use in your own life to make your life peak performance. Bethany, do you have anything you want to say about the Peace Project, just to close us out?
I just want to encourage people to go to the website, to albanypeaceproject.com, sign up, and vote with your heart. Commit to meditating each day in January 2014, and vote with your heart for the peace that you want to see in the world.
Great. Thank you very much. Thank you, guys. And
Absolutely.
we will say so long for now.